Hey guys, I'm going to be doing something that I've never done in this channel. I thought I'll just watch a video while reacting to it and then watch together. Okay, so this video I just came across titled in YouTube, Chasing the Natural High, an Experiment. And the thumbnail text says, How good can you feel? And it caught my attention. I wanted to watch this. And in fact, I watched the first 1 or 2 minutes, I guess, and it was something that caught my attention. So this is something that I'm also interested in. So I thought I'll react to this video while recording this because I've been interested in the same topic of how high we can actually feel, how best we can feel in life in an organic way without side effects. Because there are certain things that can actually be satisfying. We can feel the real high, like on the other side, it can be either illegal or it can be something that is legal, but in the long run, very damaging to your overall health, overall well-being. So, like for example, drugs and watching Netflix for long hours, sitting in the same place, or eating junk food and all of that stuff. But whereas if you have jogged in the morning before, getting in the fresh, nascent oxygen, inhaling that and sweating out, that gives a certain really high, just this, a lot of focus and a lot of this dopamine, naturally getting all the feel good things in a productive way, because I want to keep that to productivity, and this is relevant to the work that I do in my life as well, how to be the best self and be more productive at work and stuff. So let me do this. Let's just see. I just wanted to go ahead and watch this and see what he has to say. Okay, so it looks like a little longer video, 14 minutes, but I think that's okay. I'm sure it'll be worth it. Let me play it.
I have a question regarding the limitations on human experience. Specifically, I would like to locate them, or at least one facet of them for now. You see, sometimes I wake up and I think, shit, I feel pretty good today. And don't get me wrong, good is enough. But on account of being a human, I do have this ingrained curiosity that makes me wonder about the extremes of every idea, thus leading me to the question, just how good is it possible to feel? And I'm not talking about happiness here, although I'm sure it's all related. I'm talking more about the functionality of this mind and body that my consciousness inhabits. Feeling good, to me, is about having strong and consistent energy levels. It's about feeling clear-headed and mentally sharp and able to focus, being free from aches and pains, being low stress, steady mood, and a good state of mind. It's really about feeling like I have the entire...
Okay, so those are all things that everybody really wants, and I totally resonate with that. Okay.
extent of my faculties at my full disposal. In a nutshell, I'm talking like limitless, but without the pill. Alright, maybe a few pills, but nothing illegal. To me, this is the natural high. So it's a question about potential, the potential of our everyday experience. If I sleep 7 hours, I feel better than if I sleep 6. If I eat good food, I have more energy. So what if I take every single thing I can think of or can find research on that might contribute to this state of maximum functionality, and I put them all together and I try to optimize them, and then I do it consistently? What then? Can you just hit another level where...
Okay, this is interesting, because when he said every activity that you do in your day contributing to you being the best self, feeling really good, if that can, okay, that's really what we would need.
You feel noticeably different? Or are we pretty much at the peak of what we can feel like on a day-to-day basis? Somebody should be doing this experiment, and why not me? I'm young and physically fit and healthy. I can carve out some free time, and most of all, I am passionately curious about maximizing the functionality of this body of mine. And if that sounds like you, then why not you too? Who else but us? And if this is not an experiment with a good cause, then I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Now, before we go about trying to answer the aforementioned questions, we do need to take a little breather and just inject a little realism, because I actually want this video to be somewhat helpful and not just a nice idea. So essentially, I am going to research all the things that I think may contribute to what we are calling the natural high, and then I'm going to do them and see how I feel. This is by no means a scientifically watertight investigation. Judging how you feel is massively flawed. Firstly, because there are a lot of things that are going to be of some benefit to you that are still going to be relatively imperceptible on a day-to-day experience level. So for example, if I take a vitamin D supplement, which contributes to the better functioning of my immune system, then I'm for sure reaping some kind of benefit. But I don't feel that working. I don't get a notification every time my body fights off some new pathogen or avoids infection. And so for all of those things, we're really just going to have to put some faith in the science. Secondly, judging things based on how you feel opens you up to the huge potential for placebo-driven bias. How many times have you heard somebody saying, oh, I was having this issue and then I took this out of my diet, or I put this into my diet, or
Okay, I just want to comment here that when he mentioned that point, when he has to put faith in science, that's actually practical. That's realistic, because when you take certain supplements or certain things that is supposed to nourish you, you don't really exactly feel that. You can't validate how much that is true. And of course, the tangible ways that how it acts and how you feel as a difference in your life is what says it, but really you can't narrow down and say that this is exactly the reason why I'm feeling better. So putting faith in science, I'm guessing here if he will go to even subtler things, like I'm sure he's gonna mention meditation and spirituality, because I'm waiting for that, because I think he's this experiment, I think, will eventually naturally lead to such subject matters. Let's see.
or I stopped doing this and the issue completely went away. And you're like, all right, Dave, I get it. Like, you saw some correlation, but that doesn't necessarily imply causation. You don't need to go around telling everyone that they should quit dairy just because you stopped getting backache when you didn't buy Crunch Corners 1 week. Do you know what I mean? We have to be very aware of our own personal tendency to see causation where there is only correlation. We need to be open-minded about true causes. Thirdly, I'm going to mention a lot of different things, and I understand that most people find it difficult enough just to stick to their training routine or to remember to take the vitamins every morning. And so I'm not suggesting that this is how we should actually live. For me, this is just an experiment and something that might be interesting, but I understand that it's probably not sustainable to maintain an optimal approach to every single different facet of your life, right? Yeah. And so all I'm aiming for in this is to make an interesting video, and if you watch it and find it interesting, that's great. And if you do want to incorporate some of the things into your life, then that's even better. So
kudos to you for already trying this, mate.
Finally, just some personal expectations. Not that I want to impose too many preconceived ideas on this, but I don't think that I'm going to wake up all of a sudden and start to feel superhuman as a result of this. I suspect I'm probably quite close to the peak of what you can feel and experience as a person. I know that sounds weird, but I just mean that I eat quite well, I think I sleep quite well, I don't really drink alcohol, and I have a relatively stress-free lifestyle. And so I'm not really sure how much room there is beyond that, but it's certainly not going to stop me from trying. I think I'm just putting the brakes on these expectations a little bit, because I don't want to create this weird cult thing where we're all like, yeah, like get too much in our heads and think that we're, you know, superhumans, and then start having conventions in the desert once a year and stuff like that. Anyway, it's not going to stop me from trying.
Right. I really appreciate that, just pushing the boundaries. And when he already said that he feels really at the peak of his feeling good and performing in life, it's awesome to see that this pushing. Let's see.
Let's just do it, eh? So to go about answering my question, I looked into the factors that could contribute to the natural high, and I quickly realised that there are a lot. There are the obvious ones, like getting plenty of good quality sleep and drinking enough water, and then there's the less obvious stuff, like how spending time in nature can improve your memory, or like how you're more creative simply whilst walking than you are whilst sat still, or like how creative writing can actually boost people's immune systems. I don't know how, actually not even the people who did the study know how, but I think that's pretty interesting, right? There is a sea of information out there, and I feel like I just opened up a can of worms. So to tidy this up, I just want to lay out some general categories for these factors. We have sleep, of course. Diet is also surely an important one. Supplementation, I expect, will be closely related to diet, since a lot of dietary supplements seem to only have an effect if there is already a deficiency, but there are some other things that I want to look into there as well. Then we have physical factors. I'm going to use this term over just saying exercise, because I'm sure there are things that you probably can't quite class as exercise, but that still contribute. Then we have two more categories that maybe could have just been one, but after some deliberation I do want to separate them. Firstly, I'm going to use the term lifestyle to describe things like the examples I gave earlier, like how spending time in nature can positively affect memory, for instance, or if I find that taking cold showers make you invincible, as per YouTube morning routine videos, or that learning a second language turns you into a genius, then these are the kind of things that will go here. Finally, we have what I'm calling inhibitors. So these are the things that take you further away from the natural high. This could be something that negatively affects your physical functioning, like say excessive alcohol consumption, or something that detracts from your mental function, like stress or anxiety inducing activities. This is essentially the what not to do section, and in a sense it could be a subsection of all of the others, but I do want to talk about it on its own. Now, I've spent roughly 31 years trying to be a
That's pretty holistic. That's good. That's nice, because a lot of these empty spaces in every day between the daytime can really contribute either to those inhibitors or can be leading to productivity. Yeah, pretty nice.
less shit person. And if there's one thing that I've learned, it's that if you want to make progress with anything, it's best to start by laying down some fundamentals, mastering those before layering everything else on top of those foundations. You build from the ground up. So if, for example, you want to try and get in shape, then you start just by tidying up your diet a little bit and doing some basic workouts. If you've never touched a weight before, you don't just walk straight into the gym on day one and start trying to snatch. Or if you've been spending your days lying on the couch covered in Cheeto dust, then you start with something basic, like trying to get your average daily step count above 14, before you go ahead and book that spot on the Ironman triathlon. So in my pursuit of the natural high, I think that I should apply this same principle. However, in order to do that, I need some kind of hierarchy of importance, and that's where it gets a little bit tricky, and I'll tell you why. Remember when I said that a lot of supplements only have a positive effect if there's already a deficiency? Well, it's a little bit broader than that. It's probably more accurate to say that lots of supplements only have a positive effect if there is an underlying issue or ailment. Supplementing with zinc can increase free testosterone if the individual is deficient in zinc. Curcumin can improve mental state if the individual suffers with anxiety or depression. But if you're not deficient in zinc and you are of sound mental health, then taking these probably won't do anything. And actually, this is quite an underlying theme across all types of interventions, not just supplements. If you paused the video earlier and read the title of the study where I mentioned that creative writing had been shown to improve immune system function, you'll have noticed that that was in patients with human immunodeficiency virus. And it's not accurate to assume that you can extrapolate that to a healthy population and say that if you have a normally functioning immune system, you'll still see marked improvements by doing this, because there are lots of instances like this where particular interventions only improve specific outcomes up to a point. And this makes me think, is this all just about plugging gaps? Is it just about fixing issues to bring you back up to baseline? And is the pinnacle of feeling good, the natural high, if you will, simply the absence of deficiencies and deficits and disorders? be that a sleep deficit or a nutritional deficiency or an unsettled mental state? Well, no, it's not. But I do think that this is a large part of it, and definitely where we should start. And the implication of this is that your higher
Okay, I think I'm gonna fix me just flying around. How do I do this? I don't know. I need to figure this out.
hierarchy of importance is probably different to mine, because for the most part, it's dependent not on what extra you can do to obtain some kind of edge, at least not yet, but rather on what's holding you back, simply from fixing issues, settled mental hierarchy of importance. I think that this is a large part of it, and definitely where we should start. And the implication of this is that your hierarchy of importance is probably different to mine, because for the most part, it's dependent not on what extra you can do to obtain some kind of edge, at least not yet, but rather on what's holding you back, simply from being a fully functioning human being, no more and no less.
What was that? I'm just a normal functioning member of the human race, and there's no way anyone can prove otherwise.
A functioning human being, no more and no less. So I'm going to take each of the topics I mentioned and flesh them out in subsequent deep dive type videos, but for now I'm going to start by laying some foundations and addressing those most obvious things that could be holding me back. So this is where I'll start. First, although I think I already sleep quite well, I do still think there's probably some room for improvement. I'd say I average maybe 6.5 to 7.5 hours per night, but if another hour is going to make a difference, then I want that hour. Now, unfortunately, it's not quite as easy as just deciding to sleep for longer, particularly as I already wake up without an alarm. And so that is going to take some nurturing, and I think that will be the first topic that I cover in depth. Second, one thing that I already did but do plan on maintaining was gain some body fat. If you've watched my videos over the past 5 to 7 years, then you'll know that I've spent most of my adult life being pretty lean, and although I don't think I've ever really experienced any significant downsides to this, how can I truly be sure if I've pretty much always been fairly low body fat? One thing that is massively important to me is having good and consistent energy levels, and if there's a chance that these can improve simply by eating a bit more, then I'm going to do that, because it's not exactly hard to just eat some more, is it? Finally, I will be trying to reduce my screen time. I think because my living entails being on social media, I've always given myself a bit of a free pass with this. But if I'm truly honest with myself, there is still a lot of unnecessary scrolling, and I do think that affects my focus and concentration. Again, I will go deeper into this specifically in its own video, but for now I'm just laying some foundations. So these
Just on a side note, Joe, I've done this video called the visual distancing, and it's so true that even quite a few minutes of mindless feeding down social media can actually waver our focus. I've experienced that for myself. Yes.
So these three things might seem quite basic, but usually it's the basic things that make the most difference. So that's where I'm going to start. This isn't an I tried this for 30 days ... type video. This is going to be the documentation of a gradual lifestyle change that might take me months or years, but eventually I hope I will get close to answering the question, just how good is it possible to feel?
And that is assuming that it can be measured, how good you can feel, and in order to share it with another person is another different thing. Okay, let me just finish this video for now.
Hopefully quite sick is the answer. Quite sick is the goal.
Oh.
I say I already feel quite sick sometimes, but can you feel it all the time? You know what I mean? Who knows, right? And then do you just catch up on a relative scale, and then sick becomes normal, and then you go again? All right, let's finish up with a question, because I do actually happen to be interested. So if you personally were to look at your life and then isolate the subsection of it that is within your control, what would be the 3 immediate interventions you would make in the pursuit of the natural high? I'm not saying you have to do them, you know. But maybe if you just think of what they are, you might look at them and think, that could be quite easy and it could make quite a big difference. You might give it a try. All right, see you later.
Okay, I might even just go ahead and post the 3 comments, but I just want to end this video by sharing my final thoughts on this one. So I was waiting, like I said before, I was waiting for him to get into spiritual aspects, because I think that is something, I don't know if Joe is somebody who believes in a soul or not. Well, let me say my own journey into this, because I'm still seeking out to validate the experiential proof, because when I talk about the evidence of a soul, that's a huge topic in itself. But I think it's about shifting the perspective of how we validate that evidence of the existence of a soul. Why am I saying this? Is because spirituality and that domain of inculcating spiritual habits into lifestyle in order to feel the best, feel good, I think that is important, because I mean, to consider, and that comes with a foundational idea that there is a soul, and soul is spiritual in nature. So while the foundations are strong, let's say, like you said, like Joe is almost feeling a pretty peak in terms of his performance and how he feels throughout the day, because he's feeling physically fit, he's not living a stressful lifestyle and all of that. Having that as a foundation, if there is a tapping of a deeper self, then I guess he'll be able to have huge shifts in the way that he feels, and the experiences that he's going to have every day in his life. So because when we talk about ourselves, there can be different layers of ourselves, like this gross material body that we have, like inside skin, flesh and bones and all of that. Then there is this mind, and then there is intelligence, and then there is spirit, which is apparently, according to all the spiritual organizations, is like the subtlest of things. And from this, where consciousness is the subject of all our experiences in life. So having considered this whole spiritual aspect to it, when a person meditates and starts to include that as a habit, especially early in the morning, I noticed that he wakes up at 6:45, but that's even earlier, before sunrise. And this practice can give that feeling that what he's expecting to get, the push that he wants to get, because foundationally, if he's like so strong and everything, then he's going to have the great feeling, that feeling that he really wants. And it's going to be a lot of a silent happiness, a silent bliss that happens within, because it's not like it's not like jumping around happiness throughout the day in every activity that you do, because you get used to the happiness, and it's more subtle in nature, and you experience it subtly, and you show it out subtly as well, in very quantum ways. So this is my take on it. It was really an interesting video, an awesome experiment. This is my take on it. Adding that element would be great, and I really like his videos. So I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you watched this video, pretty long one, thank you. I really respect that and appreciate it. And I would like to invite you to this webinar that I have, where I talk about the wrapped routine model, which is just like the holistic aspect, because when I talk about the different layers of the body, this routine is more to do with every aspect of your life, like a complete balance between your physical, mental, emotional, your financial, because that you create quality time and space in order to be performing best. When that happens, financial results and all of that is a natural outcome, right? So and also this fulfillment element, which is something that I'm learning on a day-to-day basis, but from where I am right now, I can say that this routine, this wrapped routine, is I can confidently say that it's a pretty fail-proof system. It's all because it's based on the foundational concepts. Like even Joe says here, there should be a hierarchy, yes, but wrapped routine in this model, foundation is the foundation of this community that that I'm trying to build and help people in this way. So if you're interested more about this, check out the link in the description and join the webinar. It happens every Sunday. And subscribe to this channel if you haven't. If you click the like button along with it, and you'll be notified and be shown recommended similar videos that you can really find value from. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care.